What has been a big mistake or a failure?
I lost millions on that one deal. I was on the Joe Rogan podcast. People were saying, like, I want her dead. Can somebody kill her, please? I want her dead. Or they said everything. People say, like, what's the secret to what's your happiness? Figure it out for yourself.
This summer, I interviewed 58-year-old Janet, who has started over 12 successful businesses. Janet, for a lot of reasons, has figured life out, but at the same time, is still someone who's trying to navigate it.
My husband passed away 9 months ago. It still feels rather traumatic for me to even talk about.
We interviewed Janet and posted short snippets of her videos on Instagram, and those videos have gone millions of views worldwide. So today we are sharing the extended version of Janet's greatest life lessons and experiences that I guarantee will change the way you look at your life. How old are you?
I'm 58.
What does it feel like to be 58?
It feels better than I thought it would feel. It's all where you are in life, and I thought at 58 I wouldn't be active. I didn't know what 58 was, but I feel good. I feel happy. I feel like I have a lot of energy. I play tennis almost every day. I feel strong.
What would you say is a big change you made in your life that drastically improved the quality of it?
Not caring what other people think.
When did that come?
Well, I didn't live a typical life. When I was 18, I moved to Italy on my own. I just kind of led my own life to my own rules. And I had a lot of feedback that I should, fit in society's rules. Never got a high school diploma. But then I went on to go to university. So I just did things in my way. And sometimes I cared about what people said to me. You're not going to make everyone happy. So why bother? And you have to be true to yourself.
What do you do for a living?
I own restaurants, 10 restaurants or 12 restaurants in Toronto. It's good when you lose count of how many businesses you have. 12 restaurants in Toronto and 2 restaurants in LA.
Amazing. So you were talking about, people want you to go down this conventional path. Did you ever end up doing that?
I mean, going to university was pretty conventional, and I got the message from society because I was a high school dropout that I needed that. And so I was figuring out kind of like, okay, society, parents, you want me to go to university? I'm going to do this. And I went later in life and I ended up being a straight A student and valedictorian. And then I went on to do my master's degree in business. So I fell into that, but I thought it was a little bit, of a joke that I had to do this. Read some books, take a test, and now society is going to praise you.
Yeah.
I thought, right.
I
figured out the biggest secret on the planet to make people happy. At the end of the day, do you really need university when you look at the Bill Gates of the world? Or, maybe we don't. So we don't need to fall into what society has taught us. I finished university kind of around when I was 30 and opened right into the restaurant business.
Wow.
I'm passionate about restaurants, and I travel all over the world to experience restaurants. So I'm doing 2 of my passions, business and restaurants and food. And I feel very lucky. I mean, some people never discover what their passions are. And generally, it's been successful, and I've been really happy doing it. I think that's the greatest success if you're happy doing it.
What's your attitude towards risk? There's a lot of people who want to make changes in their life, but the, so to speak, risk of doing that, risk of failure, of fear, perception from others, how do you approach that?
When I opened my first restaurant, when I was 30, I had a lot of people have a lot of advice when you start off in something new and you haven't done it before. Everyone's an expert.
Yeah.
Unless it's coming from someone who has walked in your shoes or have done it, the experience. But people just randomly giving you advice when they don't trust that you know what you're doing. Now nobody can say anything to me because I'm 28 years in the business. But for people starting off, you get a lot of people, giving their opinions. But one opinion that I had pushed my way was, this is too risky and you're going to lose everything. And what I had to say to everyone was, I have nothing. There is nothing here to lose. I had a bit of money that I rolled into this restaurant.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not that much. And if I lose it, I'm going to start over again. When it depends on what do you have to lose? What stage of your life are you at?
Yeah.
I think there's times to take bigger risks. Other times, you want to put the kids through college. Maybe it's not time to start rolling some dice. I think it's a stage of life, and you have to ask that question to yourself. Are you okay with risk? Do you want risk? How risk averse are you? It's such an individual journey.
Right.
But in the beginning, when you start something, what do you have to lose? Nothing.
Yeah. Even to that point, I find that's a limiting way of thinking. What do I have to lose meaning money, this or that? Well, okay, what do you have to lose by not taking that risk? People often think, what do I have to lose by taking the risk? What do you have to lose by not taking it? That pressure that you now have inside your head, that dissatisfaction with yourself, all the regrets, all the what if, that's a lot to bear. And a lot of the time we don't think about that. We think about what happens if I take the risk and it doesn't work. Well, what happens if you don't take it?
Life is going to be over like that. You cannot believe how fast time goes by. People will not believe it. And it's like, you're going to snap your fingers, your life is going to be over. Live your best life. And what your life is, I don't know what's going to make you happy. And you may not know what's going to make you happy until you do your work. Do your work, get clear, what do you want in this, fabulous life that we get to make a choice every single day. You better figure out your own life. No one's going to help you. No one's out there going to serve you your life on a platter.
I think just like simplifying these things, I think we overcomplicate a lot of the whole figuring my life out business.
I agree.
And if you can simplify it down to, what do I do in the morning? What do I do during the day, in the afternoon, at night? That really gives you a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
If you are someone in a situation like this, but you want to be doing things like this, this, and this, I highly recommend you grab a copy of our goal setting journal. In just 3 parts, this journal will help you figure out your ideal life, turn that into specific, measurable, and achievable goals, and then build the discipline and structure you need to achieve all of your biggest dreams in just 6 months. Now, because it's the holiday season, we are giving away over $1,500 of free bonuses for the first 100 people who click the link below and grab one. So if you're someone who wants to take the next step to upgrading your life, just like Janet has been able to do, click the link below. 28 years in the business, Kit. You today, knowing everything you know, if you were to go back in time to your 30-year-old self when you just got into this business and gave her advice to get where you are faster, what would that advice be?
I would say there's no need to go faster. Build that foundation. I think people move too quickly, and I've seen a lot of people blow up because of that and lose everything. I made sacrifices in my life. I moved back home. I left home when I was 18. As a 30-year-old, I moved back into my parents' home to save money so I could save money and make bigger moves in life to then kind of have a bigger life later when you kind of want it. Build strong foundations. I've seen too many people start expanding. You expand too quickly and you don't have the resources, it's a recipe for a disaster.
Can you understand when a restaurant business will do well and when it won't? Like, can you identify certain factors immediately when you walk into a restaurant?
Sometimes I can. Sometimes, I have certain sayings like never mistake a busy restaurant for a successful restaurant, meaning are you making money? I like doing this business. I also like making money. So I can walk into a small restaurant. I can see an army in the kitchen. I can see high labor. I can see high food costs. I see a busy restaurant and people will say, they're killing it. Look at them. They're so busy. And I will say they'll be done in 1 year. And I've been good at picking out the restaurants that I kind of analyze it. I walk in, I see locations, I see what they're doing. I'm good at calling how long restaurants will be around, I think. But
I'm fascinated with the way you're talking about everything. You haven't mentioned once the food.
Oh, God, no.
I know the food's obviously great. No, I know it's obviously great. But I feel like in terms of succeeding, and that's such an important life lesson or business lesson, it's oftentimes not about like what you would think it is, right? I go to a restaurant, I think food. But what actually makes me like this restaurant? 1, where is it? 2, who's the chef? 3, the vibe, this and that. Like,
yeah,
you really focus on a lot of things beyond that.
A restaurant is not just the food, not just the service. And when you watch a movie, it's not going to be just like, who's the director? Who are the actors? It's going to be the lighting, like the costumes, the makeup. So again, I equate it to a film. Everything has to work for the vision of that. Every time I'm to a restaurant, I approach it like a movie.
How do you apply that, generally speaking, as a business advice?
It's not a one-size-fits-all situation in life. And that's why it's almost hard to say, do I have a formula? I don't have a formula. There's not a formula.
Is a lot
project by project.
Gut feeling too, or it's more planned out?
No, huge gut and opportunity, luck, right time, right place. I wouldn't be in the restaurant business had I not walked by in Yorkville. Be our partner. You guys joking? We're serious. Let me think about it. 2 weeks later, I'm in the restaurant business. Life happens, and are you open for the opportunities? And also,
right.
You work a lot with your gut, but your gut has to be clear. Meaning, do you know what you want? I mean, sometimes you think you want things, But until you do your inner work and you get clear, you're not going to know what's right for you. Some people might say, like, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer because their parents have told them that. They get there and they're like, this is not what I want. Well, who are you living for? Sometimes you think that, oh, I want money. Money's going to make me happy. Things from the outside are going to make you happy. And then once you get all the money in the world, that's when you realize that's not it. You'll see a lot of billionaires give these talks. People that don't have money, they're like, they don't believe it. They're like, if I had money, I know I'd be happy. But I know quite a few billionaires, and they were chasing to be rich. When they got rich, they're like, I'm not happy. Then they went and they did their inner work. And now they can enjoy their money. But it's not until, I think, you have to live and examine life. I think that's the important thing. You have to do your inner work, and we all have trauma to different degrees. And until you deal with your own trauma, then get clear. So something speaks to your gut, it's actually true.
Yeah. So one thing I've learned is that as much as you can focus on being successful, being happy and being successful are parallel. So as much as you can put effort into being good at what you do, you also need to put effort into being happy and living in the moment and enjoying life. There are two different things. If you put all your eggs in one basket and focus on success, it doesn't mean that you focused at all on your happiness, and they don't directly translate.
I completely agree. And I think there's a key to life, and that's being present. Be present every moment of your life. Everything's easier said than done, and depending on, your privileges, really. I feel very privileged. I was born in Canada, and
most people don't realize that.
They don't. And I think that if you have to remind yourself of that. We live where we have too many choices, maybe. And, you're born in another place where you have to just feed your kids. You don't have the problems that we have. We have privilege. I think we have too much choice, and I think we have too many wants. And I think also another key to happiness is want less. Want less.
What has been a big mistake or a failure? You're waiting for that one.
Oh, ow. It hurts. It actually physically hurts.
Failure,
I had a big, huge failure.
What is?
Yeah.
Tell me.
This one project in downtown LA, I'd invested some money, $800,000 at that point. And then COVID hit. I did not listen to my gut. My gut was shut it down. And then I had a lot of people come my way, whether it was the landlord saying, we'll fund it, we're going to give you money. I went against my inner gut telling me to pull the plug. It was the worst decision that I ever made in my mind. I will tell you this, I will never listen to, at the end of the day when it's my money involved, you cannot listen to other people. And I listened to a lot of people say, we can do this, we're getting money, and all this feedback of we can do it, when every step of the way I said, this is our time to pull the plug. And it was a huge loss for me. And we opened for 6 months, and then we closed it down. And at the end of the day, my partners, who were the landlords, they came and they sued me for the full lease. Wow. And so I lost millions on that one deal.
What's the takeaway that you learned there?
My choice to pull the plug on that project was the right decision to make, and I went against my own inner knowledge. And I don't blame anybody, I blame myself. I started to listen to outside voices. We can do this. No, we're getting money and all these things, and we should do this. Somebody handing you money, and it still feels rather traumatic for me to even talk about. It still hurts, that failure. When it's your own money, and you feel it, you gotta go with that. And I knew better, and I paid dearly for that. I'm still paying for it. That's why I feel it.
Is your appetite for, not appetite for failure, but your attitude towards it different now that you're no longer perfect?
Well, I want to go back to being perfect. Being perfect is so much better.
Understandable. What is one thing that when you were younger, you put a lot of importance on, and as you've gone older, you realized wasn't actually that important?
It's always going to be what people think about you. Nobody's actually thinking about you. Nobody really cares. And if they do, you cannot pay attention to it. Like, I was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and then my sister said to me, do not read the comments. And there were thousands of comments. And people were saying, I want her dead, like me. I'm talking about the restaurant business, and Can somebody kill her, please? I want her dead. Or they said everything. And they said, no, I love her. I hate her. And everything in between. And I laughed at it. I said, this is ridiculous. I was really straight talking about business and the restaurant business, and people want me dead. And they have a lot of opinions, good, bad, and the ugly. But Joe Rogan will say this. You don't see LeBron James in the comments section. Who's making comments? Let me see your life. Put your name to your comment. And also, people are thinking about themselves. Most people are self-centered and so worried about themselves. People aren't really giving you that much thought. It's not actually happening.
If you could give someone your age or younger one piece of advice to live a good life, what would that be?
You never know when it's your last day, your last minute, your last second. And I think that the best choice you can make every morning is to wake up in a good mood and just know this may be it. This may be, you never know when your last day is going to happen. You know, you have dreams in your life, you have goals. Just do it all. Do whatever you want. People say, like, what's the secret to what's your happiness? Figure it out for yourself. That's what I got. Like that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.